Can you make shoes out of bread?
Wait, huh?
You see, ever since I came across this artist named Yukiko Morita, I hope I'm saying the name right, who basically turns bread into these amazing looking lamps. I've been wondering if I could use the same concept to make glowing, wearable bread loafers, which is also why
we're baking bread today. And if you couldn't tell, I've never actually baked anything in my life before. So this will be way out of my comfort zone. Which is also why the last few days I've been obsessed with trying to figure out how to make bread. I've watched videos, I've watched tutorials, I've watched YouTube videos.
I gotta let it rise until it doubles in size.
Yes, it's you watching a YouTube video while me watching a video while I try to figure out how to make bread. That is what's happening right now. But anyway, I think I got a pretty good idea of how to make bread, so let's get right to it. For all the recipes I've read, you actually only need 4 ingredients. You need flour, you need water, you need yeast, and I think it was salt, the last one. Which, I mean, it's 4 ingredients. You can't really mess up that bad, right? And I think I have all of them in my kitchen.
I grabbed some flour and room temperature water. Then I grabbed some salt as well as some sugar because the recipe told me to.
And I heard somewhere that a little bit of olive oil is good, which I don't have, but I have avocado oil, so I guess I'm putting a little bit in. Don't crucify me. And lastly, some yeast. I don't think I have any yeast. I got it.
As for my next step, it was a little bit unconventional.
I don't think anyone has ever measured their foot to try to figure out how much flour to put in a loaf of bread.
Now, if I'm being honest, since it was my first time making bread, I was more nervous about this than when I got tested for my driver's license.
This looks like a lot.
Now for the fun part. Hey!
It was going really well, except that I forgot I had a ring on. Yeah, good thing I'm not making this to eat or anything. Anywho, I set it aside and
Fingers crossed, it should double in a couple hours.
in a couple hours it was. 8 hours to be exact. And if I was Mr. Beast, I would probably just cut out this whole process and just show you guys the end result. But I'm not and love to take you guys on the journey with me. So here it is. I kneaded the dough into shape, measured it for good measure. Haha, see what I did there? Heated up the oven and popped the whole thing in. I then nervously waited a whole 40 minutes and this was the final result.
I did it. Yeah. I can't talk too loud because all my housemates are asleep. But I'll let these cool down for the night and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
I woke up this morning excitedly looking at the bread and there seems to be a little bit of an issue. It was a tiny little bit too short for my foot. But with all the work I've put into it, I might as well just make the shoes and hope, fingers crossed, that it will fit at the end.
I just noticed my hoodie is the same color as the loaf, but that's not the point here. I started out by cutting the circular shape out of the loafers.
This tastes really good. But what would you even call this? Bread guts? Bread innards?
Well, comment down below if you actually know what it's called, cause I ate quite a bit of it while carving these shoes. I think it might have also been the first time I'm carving on something and been able to snack on the thing I'm carving on.
I've never had shoes this tasty.
Even though I did eat quite a big chunk of all the stuff I've carved out, I couldn't eat all of it because it was just too much. So I put the rest in a bag, which I'll use for something else later on, cause I just hate wasting perfectly fine food. After carving out both shoes, I held it up to make sure that light was getting through and that it wasn't too thick. I then screwed together this simple jig to put the bread on while I pour resin on it later.
Alright, so the shoes look amazing. They smell really nice too. And the next step would be to epoxy them, except that I have never epoxied anything either.
Well, there's a first for everything, right? I mixed up the epoxy and gently poured it over my 2 loaves of bread. That liquid looks, yeah. I then used a hairdryer to try to get all the air bubbles out.
So, first layer down, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna let it cure for a bit, and then we'll see what happens afterwards. Look at what I got here! They look amazing! Yeah, over the last couple days, I had to put a bunch of layers of epoxy on there, and I might have gotten stuck on wood ones, which is why you see the top here missing, and for the other shoe, yeah. But that's totally fine, because I got this thing that looks like a yoga mat here, which we're gonna put on the bottom of the shoe.
Stick both shoes on there using super glue, cut out the rough shapes of them, and once the glue dried, to cut out the exact shape of the shoes so that the bread shoes have some shoe soles.
Alright, moving on to the most exciting and quite possibly the most nerve-wracking thing ever. We're gonna design the interior now. I've got some LED lights, some Velcro, and some fur. Make it a little bit more comfortable when you put your foot in.
I first stuck the Velcro onto the light switch for the opening I'm gonna make later. Then I glued the light switch onto the inside of the shoe and fastened all the lights one by one onto the shoe too.
Now for the finishing touch, which will probably be the most interesting part,
I've got to make sure that the bread loafers are actually comfy, right? Which will make happen with this fleece that I have on hand. I make sure to glue it onto the inside of the shoe and all around the edge for both shoes.
Not quite sure how many days it's been since I've started this project. Yesterday night, I put the finishing touches on the shoe. I did a bunch of cropping and lined up the fleece onto the edge of the shoe. And then to finish it off, I outlined the edge with some yarn. Make it look just a tiny little bit more comfortable. Honestly, I'm a little bit scared because it is a little hard and I don't want to break the shoe. So I'm not going to walk a lot with it, but I'm going to put them on and see if they actually work to walk with a little bit. Because that's the whole premise of the video, right? As you can see, it was a little bit hard to walk with them. First off, because they're not really my size, they're a little bit too small. And second, they're a little hard, so they're hard to walk with. see what I did there? So, yeah, these are bread shoes. Honestly, they turned out way better than I thought they would. And, well, without further ado, here's how they looked and the final results. All right, I forgot to mention, I have a friend named Ben who's a chef, and I thought it would be a pretty fun idea to surprise him with these shoes and just give it to them. So I did it. What's up, dude? Oh, give me a second.
Oh, I was wondering what.
You used to be a chef.
Yes.
I know that. And you like food. Just check it out.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow.
They probably don't fit you because you have pretty big feet. But these are actual, like this is actual bread.
No way, really?
The bread shoes.
No, what?
Yeah, they light up
That's sick, man.
like that.
Wow, that's crazy. Look at that detail on that. That's insane.
There you go. They both light up.
That's crazy.
Hey!
Wow, yeah. Bro. That's amazing, bro.
You got some bread shoes now. All right, that was it. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace! Hey!